I should turn my radio down a little bit. All right. Good morning. Good afternoon. Looks like we've got some people rolling in. Welcome, welcome. We'll give it a few seconds before we get started. I see people still popping in. Looks like we've got a really good group today, as always. Got a few more coming in. We'll give it a few more seconds. Looks like they're still rolling in. Just by a little bit of background, this is the third webinar in our product series. So for those of you who joined us in May or June, welcome back. And if it's your first time joining us for the webinar, certainly welcome to the webinar. We're really excited to have you. I think we've got a pretty good agenda today. As always, we've got a few more people rolling in. We'll go ahead and get started. We've got a little bit of intro, a little bit of housekeeping to start with. But really, thank you all for joining us today. We've got an hour to spend together and want to make the most of the next hour that we have. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jennifer Stutz, and I'm the product marketing manager here at Taranis. And you're stuck with me. I'm going to be your host for the next hour today. I think, again, we do have a really good agenda lined up. And I have a couple of teammates that are here to help me. I've got Carlene Wolf from our customer success team. She's going to be helping demo some things in the web app that I think are going to make your life a little bit easier. And, if you don't know what these tools are when you see them, I think you're going to love them. We also have Judd Moore. He's one of our regional account managers, and Judd works in the area or territory of Minnesota, Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota. So he's a field guy, and what Judd's going to do here for us today is really help bring that boots on the ground perspective and share how some of the tools that we're going to talk about today play out in real life, right? Real life in the field, to give you some ideas of potentially how to use those. And Judd's going to help us answer questions along the way as well. We'll start with a few housekeeping items as normal, right? For those of you that have joined us before, and even those of you that are new, remember today with our 1 hour webinar, it's an opportunity for you to earn 1 hour of CEU credit. At the end of the webinar, we'll share that QR code with you that you can scan and then get credit through the CCA app. So we'll do our content, we'll have a little bit of Q&A, and we'll throw up that QR code for you. Questions and answers, throughout the next hour or the next little bit of time that we get to spend together. If you've got questions on what we're presenting, even a question on something we're not presenting on, please don't hesitate to ask. This time is really all about you to make sure that we get all of your questions answered and we highlight a few things that we think are pretty cool and can help you out at this particular time in the season. If you do have a question, you're welcome to raise your hand and we can take you off mute. That's just kind of the webinar way. Or you can drop a question into the Q&A section. There's a little square box at the bottom. Your question can be anonymous or you can leave your name attached to those questions. When we get to the Q&A screen, we will read out the questions, we'll answer those questions, and if we don't know the answer to the question, we'll tell you we don't know, but we'll make sure that we follow up with you and get you the data or the information that you need. And I think the really exciting part is for those of you that stick around through Q&A, we'll do a gift card drawing for some Amazon gift cards. We've got two $50 gift cards, and we'll get those winners out shortly after the webinar this afternoon. If you are one of the winners, you'll get an email with that gift card mailed or emailed to you at the email address that you use to register for the webinar. So you guys remember, this hour is really all about you. Don't hesitate to answer or to ask questions. We'll get them answered. Drop thoughts into the chat, raise your hand if something comes to mind. We're really here to help and we'd like it to be as interactive as possible. We'll go ahead and shift the slides forward and give you a peek at what the agenda is all about today. So we will kick off today and we will talk about a brand new tool that we've got, Threat Trends tool, right? Just like before, our structured session is around 4 key topics. And each one of these topics that we're going to talk about today is really designed to help you act fast, prioritize, and get the most value out of the Taranis tools that are at your disposal at this particular time in the season. So we'll kick off with threat trends, and then we'll shift gears, and it's a natural transition. We'll continue to talk about disease insights, right? When you're looking in the web app, how do you triage those disease insights, and how do you use mission recommendations? And we've talked about those in May. We've talked about those again in June. We'll do a little refresher. But when you think about those disease insights, how are you coupling that with a mission recommendation to either save it for yourself for future reference or to get that out to your customer? We've got a short piece on offline scouting in the mobile app, right? We know that service can be hit or miss out in the field. Heck, as I sit here in my office, service can be hit or miss. So we'll walk through offline scouting in the mobile app, and then we will wrap up with, I think it's called Knowledge Center, right? But I think it's really one of our most underutilized tools that we have at Taranis. So for those of you that don't know about it, Carlene's going to tell us all about Knowledge Center. But we will go ahead and kick off with threat trends. I'll shift again, and we will jump in with threat trends tool. Again, remember, questions, drop them in the chat. We will keep all the questions answered as we go through. So, oh, and I do have a post-it on my desk that always reminds me that I forget to ask poll questions. So we do have a poll question before every topic. I'm glad I put the post-it there. Let me grab the poll question. Carlene, do you see them down there? No, I do not. I'm going to keep going with the threat trends. We'll see if the poll questions pop in there, and we will get to it whether we, oh, I got a poll question. Here we go. All right, first poll question of the day. Here we go. Have you used the new threat trends tool in the web app? Yes, I use it regularly. Only a few times. I've heard of it, but haven't used it. And I have no idea what you're talking about, Jennifer. So go ahead and fill that out, and then we will jump into threat trends. For those of you that have only used it a few times or heard of it or have no idea what it is, I think you're going to be surprised. This is a really cool tool that we're very, very excited to showcase and tell you about. We'll give it a few more seconds here. Wow, we got a lot of people that have heard of it but haven't used it. So I hope this is going to be a really cool presentation for you, and I'd like to think it'll knock your socks off today. We'll go ahead and end the poll. I'll show you the results. We'll share the results. So you should be able to see those. If you can't, we've got one answer. Yeah, I use it pretty regularly. A few, only a few times. Some have heard of it but haven't used it. And there's a few that have no idea what I'm talking about. So we'll go ahead and stop sharing and jump in with threat trends. So threat trends is one of the newest tools or one of the newest additions that we've got to the Taranis platform, right? It's something that's a few weeks old. So if you haven't heard of it or don't quite know what it is, it's okay. But I think it where we are in the season, right? In the growing season and what's happening right now, I think this is going to be a tool that you could use almost every day that's really going to help you stay ahead. So when you think about weed and disease management, right, the key is being proactive versus reactive. That's really important. And the new threat trends tool gives you the ability to track regional trends. And when I think about that, I think that falls into the bucket of being really more proactive, right? When you're looking ahead and trying to see what's going to happen or what's happening to you or to your fields in a particular area. This tool helps track trends in your area, and not just your area, but really across the country. And we'll do a live demo of the tool, but it gives you a heads up so you understand and kind of know what's going on. The tool, what is it, Jennifer? How does it work? Well, the tool is focused on corn and soybeans, right? Those are the two primary crops that we're focusing on right now. And what it does is it highlights the top weed and the top diseases by threats, and it also goes down to that species level for weeds and disease. And you'll see what I mean in just a second. So the tool aggregates at the county level. And what I mean when I say that is if you're looking at the screenshot here, you see these circles that are happening across the map. Each circle represents a single county. So if the circle is really small, there's not a lot of disease or weed tags that are happening in that space. The larger the circle, the more tags in that particular space, depending on your filters. Now we know that counties butt up against each other, right? So one county to the next to the next. if there are multiple counties that have high threat levels, those circles could overlap, right? But it gives you an idea of what we're seeing with regard to the severity of weeds and various diseases. Now, the tool's not tied to any specific account. When I log in and I go to look at it, I'm going to have the exact same view that Carlene has, and the exact same view that Judd has, and the exact same view that you guys do. And growers have access to this tool as well. So what you're seeing is current data, and it's really designed to, help make you aware and drive action, give you an idea of what's happening along the way. You don't want to wait until all these weeds and diseases show up in your field. I personally believe that this tool is designed to give you a competitive edge, right? You can prioritize scouting, you can prioritize applications, or really just, stay alert as to what's happening in your particular field. Let's shift gears and I will transition from my slide deck over to the Taranis web app. Let's see if I'm still sharing. Looks like I'm still sharing. So when you log in to the Taranis web app, you guys know that you land on the Recent Insights tab, right? So you're going to see you can sort and do all these filters, and that's kind of something else that we'll talk about today. But when we think about the new threat trends tool, hey, where does it live? Where's this cool thing at? So on the Recent Insights tab in the web app, you've got two other tabs. You have a Home tab and you have a Grower tab. Click into the Home tab, and the first large widget or application that you're going to see is the new threat trends tool. You'll have a map of what's happening on one side, and on the left side, you've got filters. So if you look at what we can do here, we've got crops, corn and beans, so I can sort and just look at corn. I can sort and just look at soy. But let's say I want to look at corn disease, right? Our diseases for corn that we can look at are downy mildew, northern corn leaf blight, tar spot, and common rust. When I look at weeds, the weeds are the same for corn and soybeans, right? We've got, all the common weeds there that we're seeing and that we're tagging: pigweed, ragweed, morning glory, Johnson grass, all these types of things that you can sort by. Let's stick with disease right now because I know tar spot is really a hot topic and what's happening. So I'm going to go back to disease. I've got corn selected and I'm going to select tar spot. Lo and behold, we're sitting right now in the map out in the Nebraska area, a little bit of Kansas City, you see a little bit of Iowa. I'll show you just by moving my mouse around how we can navigate that map. But I also want to show you at the bottom of the screen, you see something that's called 7-day threat trends. And the bubble right now is sitting on July 14th, which is Monday. So what you're getting is a 7-day look, kind of in a rear view mirror, right? So we've got 7 days of data accumulated to July 14th. And when we select that July 14th button, we're seeing all the tags with the circles that happened 7 days prior leading up to July 14th. And the same holds true if we go back to the 7th or the 30th or the 23rd, right? We're getting that look in the rear view mirror. So I'm going to just take my mouse and I'm going to scroll out, and we're going to get a wider view of kind of what's happening in the country. You can use the plus and the minus button down here. You can also scroll in. So where I live right now, well, I've lived here my whole life. I live right outside of the St. Louis area, right? So if I look at what's happening in my area for tar spot, I don't see a lot happening. But let's say, I got a little bit happening in Columbia, Missouri, a little bit to the west of me, some smaller dots. So if I had fields in southern Illinois, I might keep a lookout on what's happening and moving my way. But let's say that I lived up here in Peoria, right? So, everything is anonymous. All the data is anonymous. If we scroll in, you can see that we're not highlighting any fields, but I can see that up in this Peoria area, if I lived in Brimfield, Oak Hill, Kickapoo, Edwards, Norwood, Pottstown, there are tags of tar spot happening in my area. And if Taranis was showing me, hey, on my particular fields, I'm not seeing anything, I'd certainly want to have my antenna up to start to be aware of what's happening in the surrounding area, near me. But what's really cool, I think, about the 7-day view is let's scroll back out. I'm going to kind of stay focused on Peoria here. And we're going to start back on June 16th, right? And you can see the dot here wasn't so close to Peoria. It's kind of small. And we're going to track, all right, that's the 7 days leading up to June 16th. What was happening on July 23rd? Holy cow, did you see that? The dot got bigger. June 30th, bigger still. The 7th. And then as of Monday, you can start to see how it infiltrates across the areas around me. And the same holds true whether we're searching for weeds, right? We can switch back to weeds and let's look at pigweed, right? You get the same view there. I think there may be more dots when we're looking at that. Looks like a lot of pigweed happening out west, but you guys get the idea of how the tool is used. I think that threat trends is a really simple but powerful way to stay one step ahead. It gives you guys a really broad view of what's happening, not just in your field, but what's happening beyond your field. And it can help you make more informed and really more importantly, timely decisions. Let's see. It looks like we have a question. There was a hand up. Do I still see a hand up, Carlene? I do. Joey, I'm going to let you talk here and ask a quick question, then we're going to move on for the sake of time. But Joey, you are permitted to talk. Please feel free to ask your question.
I put it in the QA field
Oh,
too, but will this allow you to do a year over year overlay so you can see if the previous year had the same location findings and bubbles?
I think that's a fantastic question. So I'm going to answer that and say not yet, right? The tool is 2 to 3 weeks old, right? Carlene Judd, just it's only been out there a couple of weeks. So I think
Ah,
as we think about developing and innovating as we move forward, it's something to consider to see if we can do that overlay. In conversations that I've had with customers and some meetings that I've been in with some of Carlene's teams, right? Tar Spot showing up June 16th, June 23rd. Holy cow, it was knocking the socks off of some people very, very
I,
early.
I asked that as a retention question actually, because if it's found the previous year, but it's not found the current year, there's an argument to say that Taranis's findings allowed them to locate that and prevent it the year after. So it really relates to recurring customers that have come on, and even a test case for customers who have not re-signed with us yet. Part of the talking points. I'm going down a rabbit hole here, but just a thought that popped in my head.
Yeah, no, I think
Thanks.
it's a great thought. And again, it's something that we will consider as we move forward and continue to develop the tool and check out the use with regard to this tool. Let's see. All right, I'm gonna turn you back. You're back on mute, so it looks like you're good to go, guys. That's really all that I have to show you with regard to threat trends. I think it's really a natural transition to if I go back to my slide deck here and go to the slideshow. A lot of moving parts, right? It's a really natural transition to we think about using the web app to monitor disease insights, and when we see what's happening, to be able to send a recommendation off to one of our customers. I'm going to turn it over to Carlene in 1 second because this post-it note is screaming at me for another poll question. Let's see if I can dig into the poll question about the web app. Poll questions, where did you go? Can we throw up a poll question? I don't see them on my screen, but the poll question is start thinking about it. How often do you use the Taranis web app? Right? How often do you use the Taranis web app to review disease pressure? Wrong question. We'll get it up there. When you think about using the Taranis web app, are you using it daily? Are you using it a few times a week? Are you using it weekly, rarely, or heck, man, I haven't used it at all yet, right? But something to think about as we think about dropping questions into the chat or Q&A after seeing the threat trends tool, and then we'll kick it over to Carlene to review those disease insights. Is it something that you think you might start to use, a little bit more now that you've seen what we have the capability to show you? We've got answers all over the board. I'm going to go ahead and end the poll and I'm going to share the results. You can see we've got a few users that are using it every day, a few times a week, maybe weekly. I got a couple that are rarely, and I don't have anyone that has said that they haven't used it yet. So I think that that's a really great segue as we think to transitioning over to Carlene. Carlene, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, awesome. All right. Mind if I go ahead and share my screen, Jen? Perfect. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Carlene Wolf. I am a customer success rep here based in Indiana, and have accounts pretty much all over the place. So deal with a lot of different areas. Um, Everyone can see my screen. Yes, Jen? Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so since everyone on here has seen the web app at least once or weekly, everyone knows this page and the recent insights. So my topic for this portion of the webinar is looking at, our diseases and looking at how we can navigate kind of where we need to scout, where we need to go, maybe the fields that we need to keep a closer eye on. So when I'm looking at recent insights myself, I always go and filter. So the first thing that I'd like to do is maybe see what fields here are popping up that have the most disease pressure. So, in our disease box here, we see brown stem rot has 267 acres, and there's 9 fields with that pressure on it. And we can do filter by more species too. So you can see every disease tag that we have that has been tagged on your specific fields. And you can scroll all the way through here to see what's been tagged. So a little bit of everything out here. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to stick with the trend of the tar spot since that's what we looked at on the threats report. I'm going to go back. So I filtered for the tar spot and the disease, and I'm going to go ahead and scroll down. And then we can filter ascending or descending depending on what you're looking for. When you are looking at a disease like tar spot, more tags is something you're going to look at harder, but when you do get those first tags of tar spot, that's something that you're gonna look at first, and you're gonna go scout, make sure it's out there, and probably start looking at to get a fungicide pass on. So the field I'm going to dig into here today is this field right here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this tile of 16% weed or disease pressure, excuse me. So you can see here we've got just a couple varying tags on this on the 6th pass, and I'm going to go back to 718 here. So we've got 41% disease pressure on this July 18th of 24 pass, and you can see it's all tar spot here. So this field actually is in northern Indiana, so not far from where we are located. And as a CS team, we actually went out and ground truthed it. So this is one of the first fields that came back with tar spot that was close to us anyway. And we wanted to make sure that as these fields are coming in, they were, getting tagged accurately. So we went out and ground truthed a couple fields in this area. And the next topic that Jen's going to hit on really coincides with this, because last year we did not download the first field and did not have the offline version of the field, and it took us a very long time to find tar spot in that field. But in this field, we did have the offline mode, and we were able to easily scout this field for tar spot. But you can see here, click into a few images, we can see our box here with our tag. And we can also, we have 1 tag per threat, so we're not overloading the image. So, you look in there and you can see maybe what we're tagging as tar spot. We can see our black specks in there, kind of down there. You can kind of see my cursor there. But then we can also kind of take a look around the image and see if it's more of a widespread problem, see if there's any other diseases that we're tagging in the area or in this image, and go from there. So we, on this one, like I said, we did have the offline mode, and you can see we have tags right here at the head of the field, and we're easily able to take our little moving blue dot, our geolocator, and go in and easily identify where the tar spot was at in this field. But then that also leads into our mission recommendations that we have. So we're able to do our mission recommendations that can be sent to anybody. So this can be sent to, your growers. It can be sent to another agronomist if it's in the area, what have you. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to our 25 demo just so I have the data to show you guys the actual ag assistant with the mission recommendation. So the 25 demo looks just the same, just doesn't have as much data in it yet because it is a work in progress. But I'm going to click into this soybean field here just so you guys can see this mission recommendation come through. So you can see it popped up for me just because it is new. We do like to show it off. But if I close it out here, there are two ways to access the mission recommendation. So in this field, we are identifying disease pressure as frog eye leaf spot. We've got a couple tags in there as frog eye. It looks like we've got some weed pressure that's persisted pretty much throughout the season. It's gotten a little bit worse throughout the season. And it's got quite a few varieties. We've got some insect pressure as well. So I can either hit this recommend button down here, or I can go up here to the top right-hand corner, hit this recommendations button, click mission recommendations, and that pulls up our mission for recommendation. So if I click on this, it'll take a few seconds here, and our AI Ag Assistant will write a summary of what it read. So it says we have our recent scouting and analysis highlights. We've got severe weed pressure and require attention to some disease management. So scroll down here. Let's see, we've got some volunteer corn and persisting in the southwest and northeastern corn areas, and minimal persistence of barnyard grass and broadleaf weeds. It also says that herbicide application is recommended at the V4 or V5 growth stage to manage the high weed pressure. And it also tells you what days we might have some rain occurring, and that's based on our weather data from the timeline view. You can see where all that's coming in. And then you can also see this bottom area or this bottom paragraph here is where it's looking at the disease pressure. And you can see here they've identified the frog eye leaf spot in the field requiring management due to its potential impact. And additionally, brown stem rot was detected in 10 nearby fields. So this goes with that threats report. So we take that threats report into account with Ag Assistant, and it tells you kind of what's in the area and what you might have to look out for with the fields that you're currently looking at. So then we can take this and we can save and share. And you can type any person you'd like into here, and if they have their email or phone number, they'll automatically pop up, and you can send it to however many people you'd like, and both their email and their phone number. And it gives you a nice PDF summary of what's going on in that field with that Ag Assistant recommendation. And then you can hit share, and that'll send it right out to them. Jen, I'm gonna stop sharing and send it back to you.
Back to me. All right. Thank you, Carlene. Judd, we're going to give you some love here in a minute. So be prepared to give us some field examples. I promise. Give me 30 seconds. Guys, Carlene did a great job of really showcasing how utilizing the web app with those disease insights and particularly those mission recommendations go hand in hand with that new threat trends tool, right? You see something that's happening and you've got the ability to send something to your growers, lickety split, as easy as snapping your fingers. A couple of reminders with those mission recommendations generated and powered by Ag Assistant. You guys are the only ones that are seeing those as advisors to your growers, right? The grower doesn't see it until you save it and send it over to them. So that's very key. And we know that Ag Assistant probably likes to talk a lot. It gives a lot of sentences there. So you do have the ability to edit those mission recommendations in Ag Assistant and tweak it to however you like. And Carlene, gave a really great example of, hey, we've seen this particular disease and Ag Assistant says an herbicide application is recommended. If there is interest from any advisor on the webinar to include brand specific products that you choose and you want to recommend to your customers, we can shift that up a little bit and create a chart that says, hey, when this particular disease is seen, Ag Assistant's going to put out an herbicide application is recommended specifically, right? Whatever you recommend, whatever your retail location or cooperative is recommending would be there in addition to herbicide. So you've got an opportunity to potentially make specific recommendations to help you boost revenue and align goals and really have some tight communication with your grower. Judd, I'm going to ask you. We've gone through two of our topics, right? They dovetail very well together. The threat trends tool that's just a couple of weeks old, and then, we've always had access to the web app, but now these things are working very well together with how to triage these disease insights and see what's happening, and the ability to do mission recommendations. From your perspective out in the field, give me some use cases or give me your thoughts from the field perspective on these tools.
So I got some retailers, they're using the trends tool in their area just to have better conversations with their growers out there to relate better and just to let them know, hey, maybe we are seeing tar spot. Maybe it's not in our area, but it's west of us, 3 counties away, or we have seen it in some areas. So then when you start getting the trends tool in there, with your ag assistant, you can start recommending maybe to get ready for that fungicide application as we go forward. So I got guys, hey, we're planning on, just kind of like with the example Carlene showed there, with the frog eye leaf spot there starting to show up, and then also with some other things that we're maybe seeing not too far away, guys can be prepared and start looking for those things ahead of time, not waiting to react. They're being proactive there.
Perfect. Carlene, we do have a question and we can address the question at the end, but I do want you to see if you can dig something up while I do the next shift, if you can see the question. So everyone knows what will be coming at the end is an example of what northern corn leaf blight how it looks on an image, right? What that looks like. I'm going to go back to share my screen and we'll address that in Q&A here in a few minutes. We're going to shift topics to offline scouting. It's that time of year where scouting is happening, and we know that those things are critical. My post-it says it's time to put up another poll question, so we're gonna drop a poll question about offline scouting. So, have you used the Taranis mobile app to scout without cell service, right? This offline scouting concept. Yes, I have, and it worked great. Yeah, I did, but I had some problems. Not yet, but I intend to. And I have no idea what you're talking about with offline mode, right? So let's see what we've got. We'll give it a few seconds. Carlene, Judd, can you see my screen okay? Am I showing the slides? Okay, perfect. All right, we'll give this a few more seconds. Oh, I'm a little surprised. Okay, so I've got a not yet, but I plan to, and I had no idea what offline mode is. So we're gonna go ahead and, oh, we got one, and it worked great. All right, give it a few more seconds, see if anybody else bounces in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're gonna knock it out. All right, we're gonna, oh, yes, but with some trouble. All right, we're gonna go ahead and I think we've ended the poll. Can you see the poll, Carlene, Judd? Okay, perfect. All right, so you guys can see the results of the poll question. We'll go ahead and stop sharing that and kind of shift gears to offline scouting, right? Looks like we have some that maybe intend to use the feature and some that really have no idea what I'm talking about when we say offline scouting. So thinking about, again, Carlene and myself, when we were doing the initial two topics, we were talking about things in the web app, right? When you're sitting at your desktop, you've got your iPad, you can kind of access the web app, what we refer to as the web app. But now we're going to shift gears and talk a little bit about the mobile app, right? So our offline scouting feature is in the mobile app. And what it does is it helps you stay connected to your fields when you have absolutely no internet. It's really simple to use. Carlene referred to it, right? When she was out there and the team was out there doing the scouting, they didn't have a whole lot of internet. We're in the middle of the cornfield and they had difficulty, figuring some things out. So it's pretty simple. What you do is you download the fields that you intend to scout. And when you think you don't have service, hey, I know I'm going out to field A and field B and field D today. So we're going to go into the mobile app. We're going to download those fields so that we have them to be able to use when I know I'm in those fields and my service is probably so-so. So once those fields are downloaded and you're out in the field and your internet connection goes kaput, what happens is those fields and the associated data, let's shift slides here, The data that's associated with them are still accessible to you, right? So you can go in, you can see the screenshots here, you can go in and see those heat maps, you can see your bubbles, and you'll have the ability to add notes and to add photos. And then when you're out of those particular fields or you're out of the area that has no internet connection, when you get back to an area that has a good, healthy, strong internet connection, everything's going to sync back up and you've got all of your data. So, in true form, like our other webinars in May and June, and even here today, we were doing live demos of what's happening in that space. But this is a little bit trickier. I can show you how to go into offline mode, but then once I get into offline mode, I don't have internet connectivity because I'm in offline mode to keep sharing my mobile app. So what we did is we created a short video on how to offline scout in the mobile app, and then we will transition over to what's happening in Knowledge Center. So this video also exists in Knowledge Center. If it's a little quick, you'll be able to access it afterwards, and Carlene's going to show you how to do that. But we'll shift gears and show the video. It's 2 minutes and 30 seconds, very high level, that gives you an idea and shows and walks you through the steps to get into that offline scouting mode. Just walks you through the steps that we talked about. And welcome to Taranis. Today we're going to walk through how to use the Taranis mobile app offline. This feature is especially useful when you're out in the field and don't have a reliable internet connection. Let's dive in. First, ensure you have all of the necessary data before you start. Open the Taranis web app on your desktop or laptop and ensure that the fields are up to date with NDVI imagery, identified threats, and any specific notes or recommendations. This ensures that you'll have access to all of the information you need, even without the internet. Let's prepare for working offline. Before heading to the field, connect your mobile device to Wi-Fi or a strong cellular network. Open the Taranis mobile app and your insights will load. At the top of the screen, tap the white Taranis logo. Next, select Manage Offline Fields. Select the fields you plan to scout with the anticipation of no internet connection. After making your selection, hit Save in the bottom right corner. A pop-up message will appear, letting you know the fields you have selected are downloading for use in offline mode. At the top of the screen, you'll see a progress bar showing the status of the download. When the download is complete, you'll get a pop-up message indicating that the fields have downloaded successfully. You're now ready to head to the field. Once in the field, open the Taranis mobile app. The app will automatically detect that you're offline and transition to offline mode. Navigate to your downloaded fields from the main dashboard. All previously synced data, including high-resolution images and insights, will be accessible. While scouting, use the app to log observations, create notes, and even capture photos. When you're done scouting, head back to a connected area and open the Taranis mobile app. The app will automatically detect the connection and sync your offline data. Once synced, you and your team can access the updated insights and take appropriate action based on your observations. Using the Taranis app offline is a seamless way to ensure you stay productive and informed, even in remote locations. By following these steps, you'll never miss a beat, whether you're connected or not. Thanks for watching and happy scouting. All right, let's see if we can. Hey there, and welcome to. We don't want to watch it again, Taranis. For sure. Let's see. There we go. All right, we're still showing my screen. All right, that's it, guys. It's really that simple, right? So you go in, you know that you're going to be in an area with no internet. You download your fields ahead of time. You do the same scouting that you've always done. You can take notes and you can take pictures and you can do all the things. And then when you go back into an area and you reopen that app back up, all of your data is there. So once you have your fields downloaded, you're ready to go. So no signal out in the field is really going to be no problem for you this season. You can still capture everything that matters to you, everything that matters to your customers, and then pick right back up where you left off once you're back online. So we've got one more tool for you. And I think it's really one of the most underused tools that we have. It's called Knowledge Center. I will turn it over to Carlene in a hot second. We've got one last poll question. We'll see if we can throw that up there. I wish I had one more poll question that says how much did you learn? Right? We've got a lot of I didn't know this stuff existed. So I hope that this was a really great hour spent together. If we could get that last poll question up. Have you visited Knowledge Center or visited the Knowledge Center in the Taranis web app, right? We should see that here in a second. The options are going to be yes, I use it often. Yes, but only once or twice. Man, not so much, right? I've heard of it, but I haven't used it. And then the last option is going to be what the heck is Knowledge Center, right? So take a second, drop your answer in. Here we go. We got a couple of people that have used it. Some have heard of it, don't really know what it is. And I got a few, what the heck is Knowledge Center, right? Carlene's going to tell you all about it here in a few minutes. All right. We'll end the poll. We'll share the results. Carlene, can you see the results? Thumbs up. All right, perfect. So you guys can kind of see where we land. You've got some, most of our bars, right, with regard to the answers is I've heard of it but haven't used it, or what the heck are you talking about? So hopefully this is going to be another really useful piece. And then we'll turn it back over to Judd to give his on the boots on the ground perspective with regard to the offline scouting and the Taranis Knowledge Center. So Carlene, I'm going to stop sharing and turn it over to you.
All right, let me share my screen again. All right, go back into 2024 here. All right. So the Knowledge Center is very simple to get to from the web app. So if you are in the web app here, you can go to this little circle with a question mark in it, and that'll take you straight to the Knowledge Center. So if we click it, it'll bring up this Help Center, and then we can click on this Knowledge Center piece, and it pulls up the Taranis website, which takes you to the Knowledge Center portal. And there's a lot of good tools in here. So you can see we have the getting started, we have pre-season readiness, in-season insights, articles about Ag Assistant, Crop Threats Academy, a couple things about Taranis marketing, and then policies and more. So there's a bunch of good information in here. First and foremost, I'm gonna click on the getting started portion. Because there's a lot of good information in here, especially for new growers if you're trying to log them in. Also, if you're trying to maybe invite a new agronomist or just trying to show someone Taranis. So you can see here we have just basic information, how to log in, how to invite a user. And then we get into more deep information about how to use the John Deere integration. So how to invite someone, how to accept the invitation, how to connect to my John Deere account to Taranis, and so many more. So I'm just going to click into one here. We'll do connect a my John Deere account to Taranis. So you can click on any of these articles, and it has a step-by-step article here for you to learn how to do what you're looking for. So in this case, we're learning how to set up a connection. So you can walk through this either step by step with it or read through it and do it on your own. But it shows you exactly what you need to do and how you need to go through it. On both sides here, in this case for John Deere and for the Taranis side. And it'll tell you when it's successful and activated. So then easily you just go back and you can go into any of these articles. So uploading a field boundary, we can go in there. It'll tell you how to walk through uploading field boundaries just as easily. Way to the bottom here. or it says it was imported successfully. So then we can also go in here to pre-season readiness. We've got our onboarding checklist for your growers, how to enter planting information, how to track missing planting dates, and then also where you can view estimated mission dates. I know I get that question asked a lot, is where can you find when your next mission is going to be? So this walks you through how to find that information, and you can see here what mission you're on. You can see your estimated mission date, and you can even search. So there's a lot of good information in here, a lot of good things to kind of play around with and look at. So again, if you're looking to get in there, you just click on this little circle with a question mark and then click on that Knowledge Center. It'll take you right to it.
Hey, Carlene, while you're sharing your screen, well, I know you turned it off. Go back to sharing your screen real quick. Since we just
Yep.
did the video on offline scouting, let's go back to Knowledge Center real quick.
Yep.
Right. So up at the top, you've got the search articles. You can type keywords, right? If you type in offline, what pops up? There we go. Offline scouting in the Taranis mobile app. So what you'll see there, you scroll down and the video is there that we just shared. So if it was a little bit quicker, you want to go back and slow it down and take a look at that, right? You can always use that search bar and go and check out the articles that we have. If you scroll back up to the top one more time, that Taranis logo on the left-hand side, if you select that, yep, that takes you right back to the menu, right? So you can go back to all the building blocks. If you know something that you need is early, getting started, or in season, you can go and look at the list of articles, or if you know exactly what you want to look for, you can type that into the search bar. Judd, I'm going to shift gears and give you 2 seconds before we shift to Q&A and then the exciting gift card drawing at the end to kind of bring your perspective with regard to offline scouting and Knowledge Center.
So I guess I used the offline scouting here just recently. I was going out to a couple fields there just to help check some tar spot for a retailer. It was great to download, use the Knowledge Center to help me get some of those things. So I kind of walk myself through it. I do have some growers though that are using or not growers, retailers are using the Knowledge Center. Usually some of them are using it at the very beginning of the season just to kind of some quick refreshers for themselves to just as they start getting ready for the season or what they need from the growers, sometimes just to double check, make sure they got everything. We did use the Knowledge Center just the other day with what Carlene was showing. I'd shared a couple of those handouts with some retailers there so they could actually help upload some John Deere data to the accounts and make sure we had everything in correct as we were going forward. So a lot of I know the one guy said, he goes, I'm very, not very computer literate. And he goes, it made it very easy for me to walk myself through it and help get stuff put in the system to get started. So Knowledge Center is a very helpful tool out there, I see.
I know from sometimes month to month, if I don't use something, I forget how to use it, and it's a great place to go. And really, when you think about season to season, what you used in April and May, maybe you don't quite remember, next season when it's March or April. So it's really a good resource or a refresher. The older I get, I feel like I'm using Knowledge Center more and more. How do I do that again? Plus, it gives you some information if you can't remember. Hey, what are threat trends capturing? How do I do, a couple of things? And if you guys have ideas on things that you'd like to see in Knowledge Center, or you need a help doc on that's not in there, reach out to your customer success or reach out to your regional account manager. They'll reach out to me and we can make sure that we get that content online for you because if it's something that you're interested in, it's probably something that a lot of other people are interested in as well. We're going to shift gears to Q&A. I'm going to share my screen again. We are done with Knowledge Center, so we'll move through that. And we'll do Q&A. While I've got Q&A up, I'm going to go ahead and throw up the QR code for your CEU credit today because we really only have a few minutes left. And then we'll go ahead and do our gift card drawing, our gift card drawing for 2 winners today. If I check out what's happening in the Q&A, Carlene, I'm going to turn it back to you because there was the question about, can you show an example of northern corn leaf blight and how it looks on an image? So I'm going to stop sharing. I'm going to let Carlene do that, and then I will put the QR code back up for you if you haven't grabbed it yet.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm gonna go ahead and share our 2024 demo again. And go ahead and select our Northern Corn Leaf Blight disease here in filters. It actually looked like we had a really good Northern Corn Leaf Blight example come in for 2024. It is sweet corn, but it is a really good example and does have very clear images of what we're tagging. So you can see this field has, I believe, all but 2 images here are tagged as northern corn. So we can click in here and I can show you a couple examples here. So let's see. Look around a few images, find a good example for you. Find my box with it too. There we go. A little bit on the blurry side. Sometimes the data comes over a little wonky, but you can see there we've got our tag around it and a very nice image there for you. So
Thank you. I hope that that answers your question. If there are any follow-ups, please feel free to drop it in the chat and we can surf around. I'm going to share so that you can get that QR code again. I've got a couple more questions, really not anything serious, not anything significant. So I'm hoping that the content was useful for you today. One of the questions is, how often is the data in threat trends updated, right? So as we're thinking about what's happening on a daily basis, in the back end, our team is capturing all of that data. But if you think back to that 7-day timeline view at the bottom, we're going to show you that data and update that for you once a week on Monday. So July 14th was Monday. You're going to get all of the data from the previous 7 days. It's being updated in the back end daily, but we're going to show you once a week all of that data in that 7-day view so that it's meaningful for you and it becomes a more powerful tool for you. So if there are extra or additional questions about that, feel free to let us know. And then another question about the mobile app, right? We showed offline scouting today and how that's used. Not everybody uses the mobile app, but the question is, can I use the mobile app? Is it available for download on iPhone and Android devices? And the answer is yes, right? You can download that in the Apple Store, and if you've got an Android phone, you can download that in your Google Play Store. There's no charge to download that app, but the steps of walking through and using that in offline mode are exactly the same. So if there's questions about that, feel free to reach out. And there's one more question about scouting and offline mode. So the question is, hey, when I'm in offline mode, can I take photos and will they sync automatically? And the answer is yes, right? The key to that is making sure that you go in before you go into offline mode, that you're downloading the fields that you need when you know you're not going to have internet connection. So all of those fields are at your fingertips and you're opening them because they're downloaded for you, right? It's that static data. You add all of the things that you need. Hey, I saw this. I saw this. It's really hot out here. The corn's itchy and tall, right? Whatever you want to add, you can add some photos. And then when you get back to a place with connectivity, you are opening that Taranis app, that mobile connection is going to, that internet connection is going to happen again. And all of the notes and the photos that you've taken are going to be there for you in the app. Let's see if there's any more questions. It doesn't look like there's any more questions. So I think we'll be able to give you guys a few minutes back today. Hopefully you've had enough time to get the QR code scanned. If you have not, please reach out and we can get that QR code to you. But we did want to go ahead and make sure that we did the drawing for the gift card winners. I've got that being sent over to me now. We've got 2. One gift card winner is Shane Jessen. And our second gift card winner is Bill Schrader. So I'm always really grateful when I can pronounce the names and not look a little silly mispronouncing names. So we will go ahead and wrap up and give you guys a few minutes back. Remember, we'll get those gift cards out to you here in the next hour or so at the email address that you used to register. Really thank everyone again who joined us today, who asked questions. I know that we covered a lot. If there's any follow-up questions or you guys need help, putting these tools into practice, don't hesitate to reach out to myself, to your regional account person like Judd, to your customer success person like Carlene. We are here to help you really make the most out of what's happening with all of the tools at your disposal this season. We appreciate your time today. As two reminders, right? Our next webinar is going to be Wednesday, August 20th. And there was an NPS poll, a 3-question poll that went out today. If you haven't answered that, there's an opportunity for another gift card drawing. Check your email, your inbox for that. 3 quick questions should take you less than 2 minutes. There is an optional survey for additional questions and a second drawing if that's something that you're interested in, but it's optional and it's not required. Guys, we appreciate you. We appreciate you as our customers, and we appreciate your time today. As always, it's the middle of July. I don't know where the time went, but as we're pushing through the season and getting close, we hope that you continue to be safe in all the things that you do, and we're always here to help. So we're going to go ahead and shut it down, and appreciate your time, and have a good rest of the day and a good rest of the week.